is Pop Culture Yearbook. On this show, we pick pieces of pop culture that were important to us in a given year. We then discuss our memories and dig into those movies, albums, shows, and more. I'm Brad.
I'm Pete.
And I'm Giff.
All right. And Pete, before we introduce our guest, important order of business. This is a new month.
I do want to express regret from our last episode.
Oh, yes,
because
right.
I forgot to close the yearbook, so we're going to close it real quick, and now we're going to reopen it. Well, yeah, we're closing the book on 1980, and we are reopening it to page 1992 for this month.
Well done.
Nice job, Pete.
Yeah,
all right.
Good save. Good save.
So we have a guest on tonight to reminisce about 1992 with us. You want to tell him your name first?
My name is Ryan Pak.
All right, and he is the host of another wonderful podcast called Soundtrack Your Life, which I had the pleasure of being on just like a month ago or so. And so why don't you tell people about your show and where they can find it and whatever you want.
So with Soundtrack Your Life, we interview a guest, and we being myself and my friends Brandis and Nicole, who Brad had the displeasure of meeting.
Come on now.
Oh, wow.
So, we had we interview guests about a soundtrack that is important to them. We talk about the music, we talk about the movie a little bit, or a lot. And, we do it twice a month, and we release episodes on the second and fourth Mondays of each month. And you can find it anywhere you can find this podcast.
Yes.
All right.
So yeah, there's a lot, and you have like over 100 episodes too, right?
We're at like 80 something, but we're getting close to 100.
Getting up there. That's right, because you do 2 a month, so maybe not quite as many, but there's a lot of good ones out there. So yes, he said displeasure. That's tongue in cheek. I picked. So how often does it happen that the host picks a soundtrack that for a movie like that you haven't seen, like I ended up doing? Is that common or?
It's happened a few times, but usually we are a little bit more even-keeled about talking about the movie.
Okay. So if you go back and look for the Beautiful Girls episode, that's the one that I picked. I still love that movie, but it was an interesting conversation. Partially because you guys hadn't seen it back when it came out 25 years ago, which you get a different perspective. So that happens. But I felt it made for a fun chat.
That's what the listeners want. They want the controversy. They want the negativity.
They definitely got that.
Yeah. All right. So, anything else you want to say about the show?
We're now on Blue Sky.
Okay, I don't know what Blue Sky is.
What's
tell
Blue
us? Tell us
Sky?
about that.
Oh, so, Twitter is now X, and some people are getting fed up with a lot of the features on Twitter not working, or whatever you want to call it. So I guess Jack Dorsey, who used to be the CEO of Twitter, launched this thing called Blue Sky. And so a lot of people are flocking over there. I think it's just kind of more of the same.
It's another Twitter.
Less cryptocurrency promotions, but pretty much the same.
Because there's also Threads, which is Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, but it's another of the same kind of social media platform. Is what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, and they're also there's so many now. It's hard to keep track of them and like who's on what. And so yeah, it's tough, but
yeah, everyone's trying to pick the winner of where everyone jumps if Twitter explodes.
Right.
Sure. Well, I hope Twitter sticks around because I kick ass on their polls. So.
Yes, you're the biggest fan of Twitter there is.
Yeah. It's terrible. I don't understand it. Brad and I were just talking about this last night, like how you're kicking ass again, and we have the names anonymous, so there's no way people could be favoring you,
right?
Anything like that, except unless you're voting for yourself repeatedly.
How many burner accounts do you have, Griff?
That's right, Griff.
I have one hockey account that I post all my kids' hockey stuff to. So technically, I guess I have 2 accounts, but certainly not 12 or 13 or whatever it is.
But now today, his son was on Twitter and has joined and was voting for him and appealing for votes too. So
yes,
he's going all out.
He's a shill for his old man. Awesome.
Stuffing the ballot
Must
box.
be nice.
That's what you guys do.
Exactly. Or it could just be when you're picking popular culture items, people tend to flock towards the more popular choices.
Not bloody likely.
Anyway,
That's what makes them popular.
back to Soundtrack Your Life. That is the name of the show, and I would encourage, hopefully, a lot of our listeners to go out and find it if they haven't already before. So we are in 1992 now, which was a big, big year for us. So we did 91 and we did 93, and we had a lot of fun with those because these are like prime high school years for us. And so we'll talk about our memories of the year here first, but we will first ask Ryan to do that since he is the guest. So Ryan, what do you remember about 1992?
I remember it being kind of a bummer year for being a Minnesota sports fan because the Twins had just won the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But so this is kind of a rare, but you brought it up. Does the name Eric Fox ring a bell to you, Ryan? Since you brought up the Twins.
Kind of.
Or Pete, do you know what I'm getting at?
I don't even know what you're
Pete, you
about.
should, because a true Twins fan. So in 92, the Twins were running away. They were running away with the division again. And Rick Aguilera gave up a huge home run on a Sunday night to Eric Fox.
Oh,
and the season just turned. And it went. So I was just wondering how hardcore you guys might be or not. But yeah, it was bad after that. So carry on.
But probably the biggest memory for me from 1992 was the Dream Team.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
So,
the Olympic team, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan.
Christian Laettner, of course.
Yes.
I think David Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Was Hakeem Olajuwon on that too?
Nope.
No.
Patrick
Ewing. He was not from America.
Oh, yeah. Patrick Ewing.
That's right. Okay. Patrick Ewing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember everybody, but Chris Mullin was on it.
Everyone but Isaiah Thomas.
Yes, that was the controversy, was Isaiah. Pippen was on it.
Yeah. I forgot about the Isaiah Thomas controversy.
Okay.
Well, so related to Christian Laettner, I also remember Crunch staying up on like a billboard for like a month before the draft lottery because the Timberwolves had the worst record and everyone wanted to get Shaq.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And the Wolves got skipped over twice and they ended up with Christian Laettner.
Mm-hmm. That's a good memory. I actually forgot about Crunch. Crunch is the name of the mascot. Crunch. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're all from Minnesota. You are not right now, but you were living in Minnesota at the time?
Yeah, so I moved to California at the end of 1993. So 1992 is the last full year I was a Minnesota resident.
Do you ever visit anymore, or was that kind of it?
I didn't visit for a while. I think I didn't go back till I was almost done with college. But we go back every few years. The last time we were there was before my daughter was born. We went to the State Fair in, I think, 2018.
Yes. You got to do that.
State Fair just wrapped up again this year.
Waiting for the kids to be old enough where we can take them to the State Fair without strollers.
Yes.
Oh, right.
That makes a big difference.
But we will be back for sure.
So do you have any family or friends here still, or do you just come back because you were here before?
Yeah, I have a couple cousins, and then my best friend, two of his brothers still live in Minnesota, so it's a good place for us to all meet up.
Nice. All right. Any other memories of 1992?
Is that when we found out the North Stars were going to be sold?
It might be because it was 91 when they were in the finals.
They went to the finals.
Yep.
And it was like just a year later, right? So
yeah, I think they
close.
stuck around that next year, and then 93, I thought they left because we didn't have hockey for 7 seasons, I thought. They came back in 2000.
Speaking of bad times for sports here, that was a big
Yep. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, the good news is at least we saw the pinnacle of NFL football in this state in 1992 with the Super Bowl. Just the Vikings didn't happen to be in it.
That is true. Actually, for sports not from Minnesota, this was a huge because we had in 91 we had the U.S. Open and we had the Final Four in 92 and the Super Bowl. We had the NHL Finals. We had everything for like a calendar year there, but none of our teams were in it. Well, wait,
the Twins and the Stars
and the North Stars were both in.
Yeah,
but other than that, North Stars didn't win.
That's my negative Minnesota energy, just assuming.
Sure. Well, and before we jump into the three of ours memories of 92, I would like to ask Ryan the first question we ask all of our guests.
Oh, yes, I forgot. Gifford, thank you.
Could we get your pop culture influences from growing up? Anything that sticks out to you from movies, music, or television, anything like that?
I mean, being at my age, it's hard to say that The Simpsons were not a huge pop culture influence.
Oh.
And then, too, I guess go with the Minnesota theme. Like, I'm a huge Coen Brothers fan of all their movies. They grew up in St. Louis Park, but that's not why I'm a big fan of theirs, but it's an extra bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Do you have a favorite movie of theirs?
It's not a popular one, but I really like the Hudsucker Proxy.
Oh, really? That's one I've never seen.
Oh.
Probably because it's not that popular, but I remember that was one of those that we had at our store. We had videos and everything, but I just never got around to that one.
Yeah, that one's a fun one. Obviously, The Big Lebowski and Oh Brother Where Art Thou. Those are probably...
That's Gifford's. Yeah, he loves that one.
Excellent choice there.
Thank you.
I still go Fargo, but they're all pretty good.
Fargo's tough to beat too. Like you say, they're all pretty solid shows.
Well, I have negative memories associated with Fargo because when I moved to California, I got a lot of kids asking me why I don't talk like the people in Fargo if I'm from Minnesota.
Right.
Did you tell them that the people from Fargo or Minneapolis don't have that thick of an accent?
I tried to explain that, but they're like, but in the movie.
Right.
It's a little overdone.
Movies are law. I mean, that's the way it is. They're never an exaggeration of reality.
All right. Any other pop culture influences?
No,
you can say no. I was just curious. I didn't want to cut you off if you had another one. So
yeah.
Those are probably the big ones.
Okay.
Obviously, Prince is great.
Of course.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I didn't want to cut you off. But those are great choices. We love those, and we just did a Simpsons episode, 3 months ago. So that was a fun one. All right. How about Pete? You want to share your memories of 1992?
Quite certain this is the year, Brad, that I famously put the car in the ditch in sophomore year as the last day of school. Yes, Gifford.
Yeah, that's right.
I was just thinking that
you were correct. You look like you were going to correct me or something, like I was wrong. But it was the last day of school, sophomore year, right after we all got our driver's licenses. I got mine in February, which is when my birthday was. And we were going out to a beach on the lake. And I was being a little too cool and just passing everybody out on a gravel road and just waving at everybody as I would pass them. And then, of course, there was, and this was a new memory about this very incident that was just brought to my attention just 2 weeks ago at a family reunion. My cousin, Terry, who lived out on that lake, pointed out that the gravel was there was a spot where the gravel became very loose. And I do remember that now. That's actually what happened. Plus, of course, I was going too fast. So I'm not sitting here saying, well, it wasn't my fault. But Brad actually mentioned, yes.
I was going to say, you're making it sound like you almost died. You should probably, I'm going clarify that it was no big deal, actually.
The thing, the reason it wasn't a big deal is because I passed a few people.
Your driving
skills. And then I had one of our best friends, Eric Haken, was in the passenger seat with me, who's just the whole time going, woohoo, yeah. And, it's a really steep ditch, actually, that I fishtailed. I started going to the left, and then I overcorrected. I went down the right-hand side, and it was a really steep ditch. And all I kept thinking was, if this car stops, I'm never, ever going to be able to get this car out. So I just remember thinking, I just kept my foot on the gas and just kept going the opposite direction. Now, Sorensen is driving past me and another friend just laughing his ass off.
That would have been good.
Yeah, I was in
I thought it was Griebel. I thought it was Griebel, actually. But
I thought we had 3 in your car, Brad.
Maybe you did.
Griebel might have been in there.
But anyway, they're just laughing at their asses off at me. But I was able to get right up and back out without any trouble. And thankfully, nobody got hurt. It really, in retrospect, it could have been a lot worse. But nobody got hurt. There was no damage to the car, and it really caused no actual problem. So, and Brad actually brought that up in the best man speech that he did for me. So that was nice.
Well, thank you for doing that so that I had something to talk about.
There you go. I had to give you.
You had nothing before that. You knew the guys.
That's it. I'm
Blank
having no
slate.
more fun, I said. And that was the end of the fun that I had in high school.
Is that your all your memory there then, Pete?
I actually the other memory too that I have is that in November of that year was the year that my parents bought the house that you all love and remember in Tyler on Highland Court. A lot of just really great memories of that house. It's really amazing to believe that I actually only lived in that house for 2 years. But it seemed like it was like the best high school years because we have so many memories. Like every single night, everybody was coming over. We would play poker. We would watch TV. We would play darts.
Super Nintendo
in that house. Gifford showed up with a terrible concussion after a football game. He doesn't remember it, but he looked.
I remember it. I remember that was in '93. I was completely dazed and confused after that football game.
Yeah,
but that was senior year.
We were like, "Are you sure you should even be driving, man?"
Nope, probably should have been. But I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Thankfully, that all straightened out, and you had no permanent brain damage. So.
At least it's been diagnosed.
Right. It's been diagnosed. Yeah. There might be some diagnoses made after.
Well, let's test him right now. Gifford, what do you remember about 1992?
Good.
Well, the first thing that always comes to mind, two things. My brother graduated in '92.
Oh, yes.
So that's spring from RTR. And then, of course, the big thing in '92 for all three of us was getting our driver's license. Pete, I didn't get mine until August. I didn't have a car lined up until a month after my birthday, so I didn't see a point of getting a driver's license. I went and got my driver's license, I think, 2 days before I bought my car, and then I had a car. So, so I didn't have my license until a month before junior year.
Sounds like you were pretty confident you were going to pass that test.
Yeah, in Lincoln County with one stoplight, I think I was going to pass that test.
I had a problem. Actually, I think it was no stoplights, by the way.
Yeah, it was.
There's one in the whole county of Lincoln County back then.
No, unless you're counting the car wash. There was a little stoplight there.
I've been living a lie all
Lincoln County was famous for being the county in Minnesota with no stoplight.
Okay, so
that's where we come.
My stories. Well, you guys had it harder because you guys took your driver's test in the winter.
That's right.
Hold on 1 second. Wouldn't you have taken yours in Lyon County anyway? You were in Russell. Okay.
Nope. I went and got mine in Lincoln County.
You could take it anywhere you wanted.
Yeah, I drove to Ivanhoe with my mom, and we got it done one summer afternoon. A couple other things from that year, 92 homecoming. The big tradition there was we go steal an outhouse and then put it on the school lawn the week of homecoming. Usually it was one until the senior class before us went and collected outhouses all week. And I was part of that, going out in the evenings after football practice and collecting all these outhouses, storing them at, I don't remember whose house it was, and then we brought them all one night and set up this little village of outhouses on the school lawn.
So you actually had to move them twice. That's quite a production.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
That's commitment.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're amazing, Ryan, here with our stories of stealing outhouses and no stoplights. What kind of people do you think we are?
We're country bumpkins.
It was basically like Dukes of Hazzard. If you ever saw that show, that's exactly what we were.
Well, Pete's driving.
Minus the General Lee and the Confederate flag and all that stuff.
No, but I basically did the General Lee where I ramped up out of the ditch.
All right, Bo Duke. Speaking of stealing things, that Halloween of '92, we went around with some of our classmates of junior year and stole a bunch of pumpkins from the town of Tyler, which was absolutely great. And then, of course, we deposited those on the school lawn. There is a picture.
Was upset about that.
Yeah, she probably still is upset about that. There's a picture that made the yearbook that year of a bunch of us standing out there. Norgard was there. Yeah, that was a really fun night. The next year, everybody in Tyler took their pumpkins in, so we had to widen our search radius the next year. But
you had to break into people's houses now.
No, exactly. Yeah, break it in, stealing your pumpkins. But that was a lot of fun. Yeah, that's about the highlights for me from 92.
All right, so I can follow up on a little bit of that. So as you guys both said, it was the end of our 10th grade, beginning of 11th grade year, so pretty great time. January 28th, there was snow on the ground, and I got my driver's license that day, almost a perfect score. Wow. So I had my driver's license for the whole year, and that was a pretty great feeling. Got a car.
Good for you.
Proud of you.
And that's the biggest memory is like just driving around. Like we would go to Sioux Falls, which is an hour away. Sioux Falls had a mall. Sioux Falls had like actual stuff that you could go see and do there. And our parents would let us drive that far, and it was great. There was a record store, which wasn't records, it was CDs at the time. But Pete, remember Ernie November? The music store we would go to, and you'd bring a bunch of CDs, and you'd sell them, and you'd get a bunch of new ones, and you discover stuff, and that was one of my best memories. And then we'd listen to them on the way home because you had, a little over an hour to get home. We would drive to Marshall every night or night after night for Pizza Hut and movies, and some of my first dates back then. we could drive to all the sporting events. And so speaking of sports, you said it was a bad year for sports, and it was. However, our high school had one of the greatest basketball games we've ever had. So I wasn't on the team, but Gifford, you were, right? Sophomore year?
Sophomore year, I was not on the varsity. I was not on the varsity team sophomore.
Okay, well, but you were part of it anyway.
Yeah.
So we played the team that had the best player in the state of Minnesota. He was going to the Gophers.
That was not Gifford, by the way.
No.
And they were expected to basically win the state, and our team knocked them out, and we had like front row seats. It was just a fantastic night. And speaking of like dates, I was a sophomore, but I did go to prom that year, and so I got
really.
I went with Tina.
Oh, you went with Tina. Yeah. That's right.
So a junior asked me to prom, and I was one of the few sophomores there, which was a little awkward because I wasn't really friends with any of the older people. But it was still fun, and it was pretty cool. And I got to say I went to prom 3 times. So,
wow,
yeah,
that's you.
So it's kind of a peak year for me, I guess.
Peak sophomore year.
Yeah.
But you didn't get held back, right? So you're not like Ben Affleck's character from Dazed and Confused, where he's just like 20 years old but still in high school.
Yes, I was not looking to repeat it again after that. So
no.
All right, so I think that covers mine.
After we hop off the air, we're going to get all of the juicy details of Brad's prom nights.
Oh, he was a gentleman. Stop it. He was an absolute gentleman.
Yeah, I know.
All right. So anybody have anything else you want to add about 1992 before we get into the drafting?
No, we covered it.
I'm set.
Okay. So we are going to draft our movies, music, and TV tonight. The TV we're going to do separately because Ryan was 10 and he wasn't sure that he would have enough to want to take part in that one, which is totally fine. So he did say The Simpsons. That would have been your number 1 pick, I bet, right?
Yeah, probably.
Probably. So we're going to do movies and music with Ryan. And so since we have 4 on, if you've listened to us in the past, we often do a snake draft where you go all the way down and then the last person picks twice and it snakes back to the beginning. We picked our orders ahead of time. So we're going to start with movies, and it's going to be Pete, Giff, me, and Ryan is actually going last in this category here. So all movies should have been released in the calendar year of 1992. We'll see who screws up this one this time.
See if I have
usually it's Pete, but Gifford is now a little famous for making
Gifford,
probably the biggest faux pas of all.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for taking me off that riser.
I did not even vote in the last movie one. I was so ashamed at my picks, so I did not vote at all.
A couple people voted for you anyway. Maybe they didn't read the directions, or maybe they just liked the ones you got right so much that they voted.
Sure,
you did have The Empire Strikes Back, so that might have got somebody to vote anyway.
That was a good one. That was a big one.
All right. So 1992 in film. Pete, you're up first. What's your number 1 pick for movies? What'd you like the best?
I am going to pick one that we actually watched about 2 or 3 weeks ago as a family. It was the first time that our kids had seen it. Well, Gifford, you look a little surprised. I'm wondering what you're going to say.
I'm just assuming your number 1 pick is your choice for this month, and I thought that was a strange pick to have to watch with your children. But go
Oh,
ahead.
no. It's not that pick. No.
No, we know.
Okay.
What is your pick?
I am going with what was it? Oh, My Cousin Vinny.
Nice.
Oh, My Cousin Vinny.
It holds.
You watched
up
it with
really
two
well.
Utes.
It's yeah, we did watch it with two Utes. There is a lot of Joe Pesci going on in that movie, but it's still fun. At this point, the kids have heard it all. They're in middle school and high school, so what's the difference?
I actually, since you brought that up, I got to ask because I'm going to maybe shock you. I've never seen that movie all the way through.
What?
Somehow.
Oh, sure.
But is it rated R? Does he swear a lot?
It is rated R.
I always
yeah,
thought it was a PG-13
swearing.
movie based on what I know and see of it and everything. So it's okay.
It could easily be a PG or a PG-13 movie if it wasn't for the swearing.
Constant swearing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I know about the movie. I don't. We got these holes.
Oscar
Yeah,
winner
that's right.
Marissa Tomei came out.
I know.
That
I know
was
all about it.
outstanding.
All right, Giff, what's your pick?
Well, in honor of Pete and to show him how much I love his pick for this month, I am going to go with Reservoir Dogs.
Really? So Reservoir Dogs, we will be discussing in 2 weeks probably.
You weren't even part of the club officially.
I was not part of the
But
Reservoir Dogs.
Save that for.
We're going into it, but that's a little teaser.
Mhm.
There was a club. All right. Well, my number one movie is still here. The movie that I would associate the most with this year, getting my driver's license, going to movies with you guys, being independent, Wayne's World.
Excellent. Party on.
All right. So now, Ryan, you get to pick two in a row.
So I was 10 in 1992, so I think some of the movies I'm going to pick are going to reflect that.
That's
But
good.
so my first pick is going to be a League of Their Own.
Okay.
So good.
That's high on my list.
That's high up there. Yep.
And then I'm going to follow that up with another sports movie with the original Mighty Ducks.
I was going to say, was that 92?
There you go.
Excellent.
my
Yes,
guess.
it was.
Minnesota movie too.
Yeah, well, you're pulling some good ones in there.
Yeah, A League of Their Own would have been high on my. If I thought Pete was taking Reservoir Dogs, I was going League of Their Own on mine. Then, great pick.
Yeah, so we just talked about Tom Hanks recently too, and I mean obviously there's a lot of great women in that movie, but his role is just
Oh, so good.
so amazing.
There's no crying in baseball.
Are you crying? All right, well, my number 2 pick is here too.
Lucky.
And this is one again that we drove to. We went in a group of 4, but one of the people was my date from prom, Tina. This is one of the first times we went out together.
Woohoo!
And this was a big deal because this movie, they were hard at the box office. You can't get into this movie if you're not 17. And we were 16. But we went and we tried to get in, and I walked right through. Didn't have to show any ID or anything. That's Basic Instinct.
You took your date to Basic Instinct.
Oh, everybody
All
wanted to
over.
go. She wanted to go.
Yeah.
All right.
So
And it was just it was great. Can we get in? Can we do it? And we did. It was awesome. Because not everybody got in. They did kick some people out.
yeah, then I can see why. I mean, it was a hard R movie. I mean, and all of.
But it's good. I mean, and it's
controversy
maybe
with
it's a little cheesy in it, but I mean, I still love that movie. It's just entertaining. It's fun to watch.
That is a great movie. Yes, it is. I have that highlighted as one of mine that I would like to grab.
I thought that's the
list.
one that you were thinking Pete was going to say he watched with his kids the other day.
No.
No, we're not.
That
gonna-
would be something.
That would be something.
All right.
If-
For any of you that were lucky enough to read my senior interview in the Tyler paper in 1993 or 94,
Well, I did.
listed as one of my favorite movies in that senior interview was A Few Good Men.
We just discussed that movie last night too, Brad.
You can't handle the truth.
Can't do it.
Also, a Minnesota connection that Pete's brought up many times. That Tom Cruise is watching TV in that movie, and they're playing the
Yes.
game where the Twins' 15-game winning streak in 1991 ended.
That's right.
Pete has
Puckett.
pointed that out so many times that it's in my brain now.
Yep.
That
I enjoy pointing that out. All right.
2 picks for you, Pete.
I get 2 picks, eh? I'm going to go with Unforgiven
Oscar.
as that's a great film.
Yep.
And
Isn't that an Oscar winner?
Yep,
it
won
is.
Best Picture.
That's what he just said.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
And I am going to go. Oh, there's a few picks here. I'll go with Patriot Games.
Oh, I was hoping you weren't going to take my next pick.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pete.
2 heavy movies in a row there.
Yep. You know, and just looking at this list, I said I didn't see My Cousin Vinny, but just about, I think almost every other movie listed so far is a movie I remember driving to go see in the movie theater in my car that year. That's just great.
Okay, I am going to take one that I absolutely love. It may have been pointed more at a 10-year-old Ryan, but I think everybody loved this movie, and that's Aladdin.
Oh, yes. We all love that movie.
Well, it's on my list.
Snipe
absolutely great.
Everybody loves Jasmine. Jasmine is the best.
Oh, well, I mean, the Robin Williams, every line he said, we would it's one of the quotable movies. You could just say him over and over again.
Yeah. He was outstanding.
All right. Okay. I'm going to take my number 3 overall pick and then hope my 4 is here too. See if Ryan takes it or not. So another one that I drove to watch, another one that was R-rated, White Men Can't Jump. I'm really surprised one of you guys didn't pick that yet, actually.
I thought about it. That was one that I was going to take.
I have it highlighted as one I would have liked to have on my list. I have a little bit of a story about that one. I remember going to that movie with Bo and Joe, and we went up to the Marshall Theater,
classmates,
and they said that we couldn't get in because it's R-rated.
Oh, yeah, see?
So we went to, I believe it was a gas station, asked for a pen and paper, and wrote permission slips from our parents so that we could get into the movie, and they accepted them.
Wow.
And then
it's the same guy, like he didn't recognize you?
No, I was the same guy, but he's like...
Oh, you're just like, let's go
we went home.
Let's go home and go grab permission slips from our parents. He doesn't know where the hell we're from. I probably wasn't wearing my Letterman's jacket or didn't have it yet, so...
Yeah. You were. I think the moral of this is 1992. You just kept breaking the law over and over again.
Are you sure you want this episode to go public? Because
break laws. I just
could be like
them.
FBI listening or police officers listening, and
I think the statute of limitations has passed.
might have passed. Yep.
I'm not sure on all those crimes that he's committed.
All right, Ryan, you get 2 picks again.
Well, I'll pick a movie for adults this time. And I didn't watch this in 1992, but I'm going to pick Army of Darkness.
Okay. Right. Bruce Campbell, right? Is that the name?
Yep.
Okay. And another one.
And I think this might be a movie that is on your list, Brad, but we'll see. The 1992 Cameron Crowe film, Singles.
Okay. It is on my list, but it is not the one that I was waiting to draft here. That is a good one. And that's another... Have you done that soundtrack before?
Yeah, I did. We did it last year, and it was like four guys who all love Pearl Jam.
Okay. I probably listened to it and just don't even remember. It seems like that'd be one that would get picked pretty quick. All right, so the movie that is my number 4 overall choice is a movie I went to with a guy I just saw yesterday, Jamie Norgard from our hometown. And we drove to Sioux Falls and we decided to go to a movie, and we picked this movie that I had like read about in Entertainment Weekly, but it was like this kind of like indie, smaller movie. And it's one of my favorite movies like of all time. The Player with Tim Robbins. That movie is, I would highly recommend that to anybody. And as a 16-year-old, I loved it and I still love it.
Nice.
I still need to watch that. Sorry, I haven't watched it since our
I didn't figure you had watched it in the last like 5 days.
Right. Okay. I'm going to go with Scent of a Woman.
Hoo-wah!
Hoo-wah!
Another Oscar.
Excellent movie. Love that movie.
All right. Now me for 2 picks, eh?
Finish your list.
Yeah. Brad, I know I know this is another one that I think that we saw together. It seemed like it was about a half hour long, but it was.
I know what you're going to say. Passenger 57.
Passenger 57. Yes.
57 minutes. That's why.
I don't know what it is about it. It's an hour and a half.
I know, but it felt so short.
Maybe it's just so good. It was,
and that's like my memory of that movie is how we all left like, wait, it's over?
Yeah, exactly. I think it just had kind of a sudden ending, like it just cut to credits, and I don't know. Maybe that was it.
Speaking of pick, I can't believe he hasn't picked this movie yet.
We'll see. He's got his last one.
I don't know what you're thinking of, Brad. There's I don't know what obvious.
You must have missed one.
Well, I'm going for my last one here. I'll go with Lethal Weapon 3, which is probably my favorite of all the Lethal Weapon movies. Did I leave
You're
a really
kidding me? That's I just watched all 4 in a row maybe like a month ago. The third one, in my opinion, is the weakest one in the whole group.
2 is the best, right?
Well,
1 or 2.
I think
1 or 2 I would take.
I like 4 a lot too.
4 is pretty decent, but 3 was not my cup of tea.
Okay, well then forget.
I did write it down. I had it down as a movie for that year.
I got it down too. Gifford, what's your last pick?
Well, I will always love this movie.
The Bodyguard.
I've never seen this either.
And I will always love you. I'm taking it. Costner and Whitney, R.I.P., but I'm going for it.
I refuse to watch it. I never wanted to see it.
Wow.
Yep.
There's
I made a hard line in the sand on that one.
Is there something you want to talk about? About why?
Didn't like the song. I preferred Dolly.
So strongly?
I got so sick of it, I couldn't take it.
Okay, well that's fair. I've gotten that way with some soundtrack songs where you just can't handle it anymore.
Okay.
All right, my last pick is my number 5. I got my top 5, and Pete, this is the one that you must have just glossed over because we talked about it last December. Honeymoon in Vegas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that.
That was your choice, and you said one of your all-time favorite movies.
I must have missed it. Yeah, I didn't see it on the list.
All right, well, what did you not miss, Ryan, for your last pick?
I've got a few, so I'm trying to figure out which one I want at number 5.
I still got a whole lot listed here.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm going to go with Batman Returns.
Okay, that's actually the next one on my list.
Yeah, that's high up there.
I was a big fan of that movie too. I don't know if everybody loves that or not, but I think it's excellent sequel.
Well, until recently, it was the last time we got to see Michael Keaton as Batman.
Right.
For anybody who's not seen the Flash movie, I would recommend it if you like Michael Keaton as Batman.
That's the only
reason
what else is on? We'll start with you, Ryan. What else is on your list that we did not get to?
I had Home Alone 2. Speaking of Joe Pesci.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I had Sister Act, and I had Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, the Muppet Christmas. That's another one I went to and drove to in the movie theater. GIF.
All right, here we go. I've got Universal Soldier, Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren. Boomerang and Distinguished Gentleman, both vehicles of Eddie Murphy from that year. One that I really enjoyed, Diggstown. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. Yeah,
that was James Woods in that movie.
James Woods and oh God, why can't I think of his name now? Lou Gossett Jr.
Oh.
Captain Ron. That's always a fun one. School Ties, Last of the Mohicans, Glengarry Glen Ross.
Mm-hmm.
Candyman was an excellent horror movie from that year. And to bring in country music, which I was huge into, Pure Country. Came out
the George Strait movie?
George Strait.
Oh, yeah. Is that old?
Mm-hmm.
Pete, you got any more? I got several still.
There's a couple. There's one I had on my list, but I remember getting excited about seeing it and then seeing it, and it turned out it was long and boring and disappointing. Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Kenneth
but
Branagh.
I had it on my list. Medicine Man with Sean Connery. Encino Man, Sister Act. Sneakers.
That was that's what I was about to say. Sneakers.
And A River Runs Through It.
All
right, so I don't have too many left here. Single White Female is one that hasn't been said yet.
Nope.
There was a movie with Val Kilmer, and I think it was in South Dakota, Thunderheart.
Yep.
I think I've only seen it once, but I do know it was a really good movie. Not my favorite Steve Martin movie, but House Sitter with Goldie Hawn was pretty good, at least okay.
Okay.
Unlawful Entry. We went to that one. That had Madeline Stowe and Kurt Russell and the other guy from our Second Chance month, Ray Liotta.
Was that where she was blind?
No. It was like Kurt Russell and her were married, I think, if I remember right, and Ray Liotta was just like terrorizing them.
Yeah, I remember that movie. I thought she was blind in that. I must be thinking of a different Madeline Stowe movie.
And then I got Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the first one with Christy Swanson, the original. Mm-hmm. And then the only other one I have, another one that we went to this in the movie theater too. It was an adult movie, Consenting Adults, with, I believe it was Kevin Spacey and Kevin Kline, maybe? Not Kevin Kline, but Kevin Spacey was in it. And it was like a swap. It was like a couple swap.
Fun.
You know, but you're going to Basic Instincts. You got to go to that too.
I was going to say, did you take Tina to Consenting Adults as well?
No, I think I was actually with my friend Norgard.
Did I happen to mention The Cutting Edge?
No, that's a big one. There was one that I think most people saw.
That was a fun one. Toe Pick was awesome.
All right, lots of movies, lots of chances to go see movies. Because if you were 16 like us, you were going to get in your car on the weekend. You were going to go to a movie.
And if you were 10, you were going to beg your mom and dad.
There's a lot I didn't list.
Right.
We could have gone on. All right, so let's transition to music. So most of us, usually we do it from this time, we'll do most albums, but you can pick albums, you can pick songs. Obviously, there's a lot of big hit songs we probably associate with this time too. And in this one, Ryan took the first pick, followed by me, Gifford, and Pete. So, what is the best album of 92, Ryan?
Well, I think the one that I probably still listen to the most right now is the soundtrack to the 1992 film Singles.
Oh, there you go.
So being a soundtrack podcast, got to have at least one soundtrack on my list.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. All right, so you didn't. I thought you might snipe me. It sounded like maybe you kind of knew what
I was thinking about it.
And you could have. You were certainly right to. So next week we're going to talk about REM, Automatic for the People, and that is my all-time. Well, actually, no. Joshua Tree's my favorite album. This would be second. They're my two favorite bands, my two favorite albums. So I'll save my comments for next week, but it was an easy choice for me.
Yeah, I was really thinking about just doing that to just torpedo.
You should have done it.
You should have done it. You're the guest on here. You should have taken it.
You're allowed.
Giff, you're up third.
I am going with The Chase by Garth Brooks. Maybe not his best album that he ever put out, but there's a lot of great singles on it, and there's a lot of songs, maybe more songs on that album that weren't singles that I really enjoy.
Speaking of not his biggest, I don't even remember the name of that album. The Chase?
The Chase.
I have zero memory of that.
What's on it? What's on it? Do you know?
We got We Shall Be Free, I believe was the first song on the album. That Summer, Somewhere Other Than the Night. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Pete, for two picks.
All right. The first one I'm going to go with, Brad, I know that you probably have this one further on down on your list, but I have it on mine, and it's because of you. Jayhawks, Hollywood Town Hall.
Pete, that's my number 2 pick right there. I was wondering if you'd take it.
Well,
Hollywood Town Hall is one of my all-time favorite albums and one of the greatest albums to listen to in the car driving through the country.
And my next one was, I actually did listen to this one quite a bit back in the day, Neil Young, Harvest Moon.
Oh my God. Yeah. Did I miss that one?
No, that was,
I don't have that.
Because that was on, it was in 92.
I didn't screw up, did I?
No.
Nope.
Because that would have been on my list. I love Pete. highly approve of your two picks. In fact,
Oof.
I think it's the best thing you've ever done on this show.
Or of all time, actually. Not just on this show.
Those are great. I love those albums. GIF?
All right, I'm going to show my eclectic nature, and I'm going with The Chronic by Dr. Dre.
The eclectic nature. That's pretty big. Garth Brooks and Dr. Dre, you covered some ground there.
I did. Yeah.
He is eclectic.
Yes.
All right, well, then I'm going to go for number 3 with another album that I listened to just over and over and over and still would listen to today, and that is the Lemonheads. It's a Shame About Ray.
That have their version of Mrs. Robinson on it?
Yeah, that was the last song. And it's great, but every song up to it is great too.
That's in the Wayne's World 2 movie, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I think so.
Because they redo the whole graduate scene, and that's what they use for Mrs. Yeah.
You got 2 picks, Ryan.
I'm surprised you didn't pick this one, Brad, but I'm going to pick Sugar's Copper Blue.
That's one of the next ones on my list.
I saw that one. I knew you were going to pick that, Brad. Or I thought you would have gotten there.
Good choice.
And since The Chronic is taken, I'll go to my number 2 hip-hop record of that year, and that's Beastie Boys' Check Your Head.
Oh, nice.
Good pick. Okay.
The great album cover, too.
Mm-hmm.
GIF, are you going back to country? No, it's me.
No, I was going to say, no, you need to go next.
All right, well, I'm going to pick one that I know none of you, maybe Ryan, I don't know, but none of you are going to steal this, but I'm going to pick it anyway because it's my number 3, and this is, again, one of the, along with Hollywood Town Hall, these are 2 just staple albums of the time, driving, listening to still today, and I love this band, Cowboy Junkies, Black Eyed Man. So you do like that one, Ryan?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
And I think I had Jim from Film Rage. He's Canadian. I think his cousin played in that band for a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they still play too. I guess I haven't listened to any for a long time, any like newer stuff, but love them in the 90s.
Yeah, and they have that great cover of Sweet Jane by the Velvet Underground.
Yep.
All right, I've got country, I've got hip hop. I'm going pop now with Happy Nation, Ace of Base.
Oh.
With All That She Wants, The Sign, and Don't Turn Around.
I guess I never knew the title of that album.
And those are the only 3 songs of theirs that I know.
Well,
right, and I was thinking maybe you were picking a different album, but I guess
no. Might as well grab it if it's the only 3 songs they had, you know? Those are some bangers.
Well, they were huge.
Yeah. Popular, if you will.
Yes. Heat for 2.
I'm going to go with Eric Clapton Unplugged as one of my picks. And Blind Melon. The Blind Melon album.
I did actually own that album.
Yeah.
Was it self-titled? I can't remember.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. It was just self-titled Blind Melon.
And I remember watching them MTV, and they're saying, like, don't go buy this album if you just be for No Rain, because it's not going to sound like that. And I went and bought it anyway. And there was a lot of good songs in there. I liked it.
Yeah.
But No Rain was definitely kind of its own thing.
Yes, it was. All right. Pete, you got your 2?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going back to my roots here, back to country. I'm going The Dirt Road with Sawyer Brown.
I had that on my list.
That had The Walk, Some Girls Do, and of course The Dirt Road on it.
I'll take The Dirt Road.
Mm-hmm.
You can have it.
Thank you. I figured that would be available. Pete's the only one I'm kind of worried about picking stuff that I'm going to pick.
I was saying that because Pete, I wasn't even saying it to you necessarily. But yes, you can have that one. I'm not going to.
Nope.
All right. So the next one I'm going to pick is, this is kind of almost their swan song, which I find very unfortunate. But my third favorite band of all time through the 80s and into high school was In Excess. And Welcome to Wherever You Are came out. And that kind of had their last hits that ever got played on the radio. They had one song after that, and of course tragically ended a few years later. But I love them. I love that band so much, and I love that album, so that's my fourth pick. It had Not Enough Time on it, Beautiful Girl. And Ryan is going to close out his music list now.
Bottom two here.
So I'm pretty torn on what to pick. Should I try to win the poll or should I just say what I really like?
I always go with what I really like, but
that's why Brad always.
It's your only chance, or your maybe one chance to do it. So do what feels right.
So I will. For one of the picks, I will go with my favorite band, and that's Pavement, and their first album, Slanted and Enchanted, came out in 1992. So
nice.
I'm screwing my chances because I'm sure a lot of people are gonna be like, I don't know who that is.
Oh, I'm not so sure on the Twitter polls. I think that one will probably catch somebody's eye.
Right.
And then for the last one, I'm going to go with the Gin Blossoms' New Miserable Experience.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
What a great album that was, too.
Full of hits.
Yep. Sounds like Brad maybe have some jealousy after that pick.
No, I got to say, I must have missed that one, too. I don't usually miss things like this because I don't have it on my list, and it would easily be on my list.
It even made my list.
I know. I don't get it.
It should have been on mine too. I didn't.
I'm confused. I must have looked really fast this time. All right. Well, I'm going to pick one. My next two, I could go either way. I'm going to go with the Minnesota Connection because this would be a more popular choice compared to my other one. Because this was the peak of this band, and this album was amazing, and they got huge at MTV. Soul Asylum, Grave Dancers Union. Of course, Runaway Train was a runaway train, but that there was many other good songs on there.
And their Unplugged show was
somebody
good
to shove.
too.
The what?
Their Unplugged was really good too.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I think as an album, I might have liked the next one even more. But they had they really hit it high there for a while.
All right, as you pointed out, I broke a lot of laws in 1992, so I'm going to break trend here, and I'm going to pick a song for my last pick. And that is a song that was released in 1992 by one Sir Mix-a-Lot, and Baby Got Back came out in 1992. I don't know if anybody's heard of it. It might be kind of an underground sensation. But
this is why Gifford wins the polls. He makes picks like this.
Well, there are a few songs that we probably listened to more times in that year than that one.
It's a valid pick. Come on,
it's still going to be the popular pick.
Yes, it's a great song. Come on, don't tell me, Pete, you don't like that song. I mean,
I never said I did.
Let's go.
Yeah, and Dr. Dre.
Yep.
Something for everybody.
You did a nice job covering some ground there.
Yeah.
Pete?
All right, Brad, I think I'm going to take one that probably would have been on your list. Arrested Development, 3 years, 5 months, 2 days in the life of.
That is one of the next ones on my list. Wore that one out for a while.
Yeah, I was listening to that one last night when I was putting all this together.
All right, so let's go through quick what else we had listed. I've got several more here.
I'll go through mine.
Go ahead.
It doesn't matter. Adrenalized, Def Leppard, Some Gave All by Billy Ray Cyrus.
Ugh.
My other country one. 9 Inch Nails, Broken, Stone Temple Pilots, Core, Radiohead, Creep, Bruce Springsteen, Human Touch, and The Cure, Fridays I'm in Love, and then Elton John, The One.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
That's good.
I had... So the other album I was thinking of picking was The Sundays, Blind, because I love The Sundays, and that had their version of Wild Horses on it, which was the song my wife and I danced to at our wedding, so it was very important to us. Similar sound. We all were into the 10,000 Maniacs at the time. Our Time in Eden. David Byrne had a solo album, Uh-Oh, which I loved. David Byrne from the Talking Heads, of course. You guys, and Ryan will know that, but who knows about the other two?
No, I got you. No,
okay, good. I'm glad you know that. The Black Crowes follow-up, The Southern Harmony and the Musical Companion. Here's one that I got to listen to this again one of these days because it's been a long time. But Los Lobos, they had an album called Kiko. Do you remember that one? Did you listen to it too?
I remember seeing it on the list when I was putting this together.
I don't remember about that one, but anyway.
Just a banger of an album. It's great. And then I did have 3 songs listed. Under the Bridge, because the album came out in 91, but the song came out in 92. And besides Baby Got Back, that was the other #1 song for this group.
That was the song we were playing as a single in your car the last day of sophomore year when Pete was in the ditch. Absolutely.
Right. Wow. That's a good memory.
And then I was looking for ones that weren't like on albums I would have had, but I loved En Vogue, My Lovin', Never Gonna Get It. And actually that's Tina, when I was going out with her for a while there, she liked that.
I have that listed as an album, the Funky Divas album.
Damn, I Wish I Was Your Lover was another single that I owned by Sophie B. Hawkins.
Yes!
All right.
Go ahead, Ryan. What else you got on yours?
I had The Cure's Wish, the album that had Friday, I'm in Love. I had Alice in Chains' Dirt.
Oh, yeah.
I had Nirvana's Incesticide.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. That was that year.
The self-titled Rage Against the Machine album. And Sonic Youth's Dirty.
Nice. Good choices.
Couple other
I had Pete making that noise?
Yeah, Pete must be scribbling next to his microphone.
Man.
I didn't
try to be professional here.
Okay.
For albums, I've got Come On, Come On, Mary Chapin Carpenter, The Hard Way by Clint Black, Trouble by Travis Tritt came out this year.
Oh, boy.
The Pure Country album or soundtrack, also the Bodyguard soundtrack. You've got Love Symbol from Prince with Sexy MFer on there and 7. Courtney's a huge fan of that song.
Yeah, 7, there you go.
And then and then the Jackal, self-titled Jackal album came out with the Lumberjack song on it.
Yes.
We talked a lot about that one.
A couple songs. I've got Jump by Criss Cross. Let me see. We got Beds Are Burning by Midnight Oil. Jump Around by House of Pain. If I Had $1 Million by Bare Naked Ladies was released this year.
Oh, that's a good one.
And then also Ugly Kid Joe came out with Everything About You, or Everything I Hate About You, basically. And then the Spin Doctors album came out in 91, but Two Princes and Courtney's favorite song, Little Miss Can't Be Wrong, were released in 92. That's pretty much what I had.
I'm looking up something here. I think Gifford was the one who messed up.
Uh-oh, what did I mess up?
You didn't draft it, but I thought Beds Are Burning is an 80s song.
That's what I was thinking, too.
1987, it says.
How do we sleep well?
I thought that was weird, but I looked up Midnight Oil's album, because they had an album that came out, so I looked up that song specifically.
Maybe it was on it.
Maybe they re-released it again on the album, but...
Oh, that could be.
You're eliminated.
All right.
It's fine. You didn't draft it.
I didn't draft it this time, at least. I'm a little better off this time.
All right, so we're going to do TV in a second here, but we will. Ryan's not going to partake in that one. So before we cut this one off and then go back into it, Ryan, do you want to follow up and tell everybody about your show again, or where to go find it, or just remind them of your show?
So Soundtrack Your Life comes out on 2nd and 4th Mondays of every month. We have a bunch of great episodes coming up. We've got an episode on Reality Bites. I'm not sure when this is coming out, but that should be out by the time this episode is released. We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/soundtrackyourlife, where we put out some bonus episodes. You can get some Soundtrack Your Life stickers. And yeah, you can find us everywhere you find Pop Culture Yearbook. And you can find us on Twitter or Blue Sky or Instagram at SoundtrackCast.
Nice.
Excellent.
All right, so go check them out. And we're going to say goodbye, but we'll be right back with our TV choices.
Well done. Thank you very much, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That was a lot of fun.
All right. All right. Hey, guys, we're back. So thanks, Ryan. Soundtrack
Thank you,
your
Ryan.
life.
For sure.
That was fun.
We had a good time. I hope he was comfortable enough with our process here to have a good time as well.
I'm not comfortable with our process.
So we're going to do TV to finish this off. And so that's the one he didn't want to be a part of. But this is for me, at least personally. Well, I shouldn't say that because I went to movies every single weekend and these music lists were amazing. So everything was big at this time in my life.
Right.
I watched all the TV. Everything was huge. So I can't wait to do TV.
These are the formative years and you're in the middle of pop culture when you're in high school. And
right.
Yeah.
So I am glad to do TV now, and then we will wrap it up. Gifford is going to go first, followed by Pete and me. Giff, what's your first overall pick? Now, keep in mind, Gifford had no Fox or NBC, and he's going to stick to that rule.
I'm sticking to it.
He doesn't have to, but he's going to do it.
So much easier for me to put these lists together.
There is I'm not going to say what it is, but there is one on the list that is on either Fox or NBC that I will be floored if Gifford doesn't pick it. I will say that.
Interesting.
I'm not,
and you'll understand why when
it gets picked. Okay.
If it gets picked, I might pick it myself, but I'll call it out when it gets brought up.
Okay.
So, considering this rule he imposes on himself, I have a guess as to what your number one pick is going to be.
Ahead.
But I'm not going to say it because I want to.
All right. Well, my number one pick, I'm sticking with it. Again, this is so I was.
I don't want to throw it out there because one of us might pick it. So I want to
driving in the second half of the year, but the first half I was at home quite a bit, so I was watching TV. And I'm going to go with Wonder Years. I love the show.
Oh.
And I'm going to stick with it. So I'm going number one, Wonder Years.
That is not the one I thought, but now that it's because it's not on my list because I wasn't watching it anymore.
Sure.
But that definitely makes sense. Pete,
all right.
I think we know what Pete's going to pick.
I don't know about that, but I am going with there's a lot of good choices. I don't know which one you're thinking of, Brad, when you say that, but I'm going to go with Night Court.
Okay, that's a shocker.
Why? It's a great show.
Because we spent 2 weeks on a show, the greatest sitcom of all time, in
I know.
Our opinion.
Yeah, but it was a little bit before
the
show that you're talking about peaked, and I'm sure you're going to take it.
But not for me, because I was watching it, and it was great. So, I'll gladly take Seinfeld. I did not see that coming.
Wrote it down before you even said it.
Fine. You can have it.
And even if you didn't pick Seinfeld, I would have thought you would have picked a different show, actually, some surprise. But I love it.
I can do whatever I want. It's not a bad pick. Keep us on
our toes here.
It's a good pick, so shut up.
It is a good pick. I am not going to steal any of your guys' pick with my next one. That's going to be Home Improvement.
Oh, my God.
I already told you guys before we started, I am not winning this poll.
No, I know. Well, there's some good ones you'll pick, but actually, because you still didn't pick the one I thought you'd pick. But
okay.
But that, me and Pete, I don't think either of us are a fan of that show at all.
Nope.
No.
So we're so good for you.
My turn again already?
Yep.
Yes,
my next pick is also arguably one of the greatest sitcoms of all time, although this is when it's past its prime, but I'm going to pick Cheers.
Okay. That's what I thought you would have picked, if not Seinfeld. I don't know. It's hard to say it's past its prime because this is 92. It ended in 93. So this is the end of the second to the last season.
Yeah.
And then the beginning of the last. And I mean, this is a show that I thought was great all the way to the very end. But even that, so second to the last season, it's still good.
Okay.
I think the prime of Cheers is different based on because the cast changed and it was on for so long. I think you could argue almost any period was the prime of Cheers for some people.
I could see that.
All right, so Cheers is off. I was crossing my fingers. Maybe I'd get that one too. All right, I'm going to pick a show that's a little bit off the board here. Gifford wouldn't pick it because it was on NBC, but it is a show that I have watched as much as any of these, and it was on Saturday mornings. Saved by the Bell.
Nice.
And I mean, in 92, I am watching Saved by the Bell every Saturday morning. Like, no doubt about it.
Get your, was it Kelly Kapowski? What was her name?
Well, I liked Elizabeth Berkley better back then. I liked
Did you?
Jessie. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That I think I was wrong on. I think I would like Kelly better now, but at the time I was actually Team Jesse.
Well, you got all.
So when Showgirls came out, man, was I excited?
Fantasies were fulfilled on that one. All right. I am going to take Northern Exposure.
That's the one I thought you would pick.
Well, I figured Pete might grab that one.
It's on my list.
Yep. I almost picked it there, but I left it for you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to do the catch-all because this is one that was at its peak at this time, at least my watching the show peak. The Simpsons.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. You know, I had a really weird time making these lists because I don't have The Simpsons on my list. I must have had a concussion or something that night that I was.
You suck.
Obviously, I would have had The Simpsons on my list in 1992. It is like peak.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Wow. All right, so for my third pick, I am going to go with a show that I know I watched every week. It's not quite as good as these, but it was a really good show, and Pete's going to agree with me.
I think I know where you're going. Oh, yeah.
I really liked Wings, and I know
did
that
too.
because it was always on like either right after Cheers. I think it was on after Cheers, right? I don't know, but so I would always watch it.
Yep.
It's a really underrated sitcom. Went on. I mean, it was on.
That
for
was
a long
good.
Time.
I am taking Coach.
Very well. That's a good, solid pick. Minnesota connection again.
Mm-hmm.
Jinx again. I will go with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, probably watched that a lot at this time. Well, I'm going to go with a Fox show next. In Living Color, which at this time was starting to like almost overtake SNL. This is that transition period where SNL was starting to kind of lose it for a year or two, and In Living Color was peaking.
I was getting all my updates from Chad Drake regarding In Living Color and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah.
Okay, last pick for me. Early role for our favorite Barney Stinson, and that'd be Doogie Howser, M.D.
All right, Gifford. I deliberately held on to this one till my last pick.
Okay.
Now you've made all your picks, and
Yes.
I am floored that you didn't pick this one because specifically you gave a speech on this one, and it was on Fox, and I watched it a lot too. I loved it. Thought it was hilarious. I'm talking about Married with Children.
Oh,
that
yes.
was on syndication. I could have gone with that. What did I say in the speech?
You talked about the greasy Peg Bundy. I don't remember about. I heard about that. I don't even think I saw the speech.
You are unlocking some memories, Pete.
That's the point of this show.
And Gifford's pronunciation of greasy, which always irritated me.
Well, there's a difference between greasy and greasy. Just like there's a difference between wrestling and wrestling. Yes, there's a difference. All right, what's our last overall pick here, Brad?
For my last pick, oh God, I got like 3. Well, I'm going to go, no, because the show ended now, and I don't think I was watching it much at all. So I'm going to pass on the Golden Girls. I'm going to go to, here's the thing. I just said it was going down, but I'm going to take In Living Color's competition, Saturday Night Live. Because in 91, 92, it was definitely great. And that's when Wayne's World came out, and we talked about that.
Yep.
92, 93, because I just watched a lot of these, it was pretty good. And it was after that it really kind of went off a cliff for 2 years. So, and we watched SNL every week. We recorded it on VHS if we weren't home and rewatched them. So,
all right.
I actually only have 2 primetime shows on my list. That's interesting.
That's some good ones remaining.
In Living Color was. Yeah, what else you got?
What else you got there?
I got MacGyver.
Mm-hmm. Last season.
Yep. Parker Lewis Can't Lose.
That was a short-lived one.
I enjoyed it though. Brad, this one you might have had on your list. Herman's Head.
Yep, I actually picked that one in one of our previous years that we did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Full House. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's kind of the only reason I didn't pick it this time is because I'd already used it once, so I thought I'd pick
Still
something.
eligible.
I know.
Growing Pains.
Last season.
Talk about past
90210.
your prime.
Mm-hmm.
Quantum Leap. Who's the Boss?
Last season.
And Perfect Strangers, which probably was also his last season.
So yeah,
I think Perfect Strangers went to 93.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah.
I missed 90210 on my list too, which I was watching almost every week. I might not be okay, guys.
Another Minnesota connection.
At least I didn't pick anything from the wrong year, but man, did I leave some on the table.
That would have been stupid.
Brad, you just started school.
That's true.
You got a lot going on.
You're right. That's probably it.
Unfortunately, your focus is switched to your real job and away from our podcast. But I'll
what did Pete say that I didn't say yet? So I mentioned the Golden Girls. I had Married to Children listed. Monday Night Football. I always include that because it's a primetime show and watched it every week. Did you mention Mad About You, Pete?
No.
Okay, that was just starting. I watched that a lot because it was on, along with one of those shows. And then I think, did you say Step by Step?
Nope.
No, you did not.
Of all those terrible ABC, CBS shows that I never watched, that Gifford was still watching because it's all he had, that was the one I kind of, because, it's kind of the Brady Bunch, updated Brady Bunch version, and I liked that show and the cast on it.
That was fun.
In fact, I was watching an episode of it just yesterday.
No kidding.
It was on TV, and I'm like, I'm going to check it out for a minute.
I had Designing Women on my list still.
I didn't like that show.
No, I didn't either.
It didn't appeal to me at all.
Do you remember Life Goes On?
Oh, yeah.
That was
never watched it, but I remember it.
Yeah.
Corky.
Yep, Corky. And then I had, of course, we mentioned earlier with the Super Bowl that was in Minnesota, and then we had the Summer and the Winter Olympics this year.
Good call.
Yeah.
Very good.
Barcelona
and Albertville.
Albertville? It was Lillehammer in 94 then, right?
Yeah, Courtney, when I said it was from Albertville, she goes, the outlet mall? I go, yeah, that's why it was built in 92 to house.
Minnesota, Winter Olympics. Yeah. It makes sense.
Exactly. Perfect.
Hey, Gifford, who's your favorite greasy band of all time?
That is Preacher Row.
Okay, now we know that Pete doesn't write those ahead of time because there's no way he had that one ahead.
Nope, totally ad hoc, baby. All right, here they are.
All right, 1992. It's going to be a good one.
Awesome.
Bye.
Yes. Bye.
No one's here to comfort me. Sorry for what I have done. Sorry that your son is gone. Something's doubts if it will be my last. And it's time to be on my path. I turn and I look to you. I'm scared but there's nothing